Okay, so this is my design of a 21st century classroom. When I designed this classroom, I wanted to keep in mind the 4 C's of creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, and communication. So number one, I created a classroom where there is lots of flexible space. So I made sure to design this classroom where there were no tables or stations or storage too close to one another, so that students had freedom to move around and there wasn't any too tight of a space to where they couldn't think or just be in and feel overstimulated. So I created one way I did this was creating a U shape with their desks, and I split it up into two, and I created space in the middle for students. This is so students can easily walk in the middle, and they could work in the middle if they wanted to, sit on the floor, or um, anything like that. Another way that I did this was by creating space to put a couple different tables in each on like one side of the room and then in the middle of the room. This table is out in the open and students can move around. They can remove the stools if they want to. They can stand. There's space there. And over in the corner, I created space for just a separate Chromebook station and a storage place for student materials. So, number two was I wanted to create a classroom where there was flexible seating. I did this by giving students different seating options. So, at their individual desks, they will just have regular chairs, but then over here beside this reading bookshelf are different seats. So, these are a set of 4 of just like cushiony pillow type seats that students can put directly on their chairs. There is over here to the right of those, there is this jellyfish style seating, which where students can completely remove their seat, their regular chair, and use that to sit on. And then next to the jellyfish seating is a wiggly stool. It's like one of those stools that students can spin in circles kind of on. But it's also like a balancing seat. They can also remove their individual seat and sit completely on that on their own. Um, so, number three was I created a reading nook. I wanted a space where students could go to one, read, but two, they could also go over there and work if they wanted to. I created a space where there was a comfy chair and pillows so that students could feel like they could relax and reflect. Over there is also the bookshelf where there would be multiple different sets of books, different levels, different or different topics, different styles of books. So that was that. And number four, I created a Chromebook station because I wanted technology to be incorporated somehow in my classroom. So over here to the lower right corner is the Chromebook station. This is like the stand with all of their Chromebooks. So students would have individual Chromebooks, but then I would also put a, excuse me, more of like a desktop on top of this station that could be plugged in, and students could use that as group games or to watch something if they wanted to, or just to look up something if they wanted to quickly without getting their Chromebook out. And then I also made sure to add a rug with this Chromebook station so students could sit right here on the rug beside it if they wanted to. They could get one of those movable chairs or different types of seating and move it there. Number five, I created a makerspace in this classroom. Makerspace is just an area where students can go and create things, be innovative. They can communicate together, collaborate together. So this is the makerspace right here. I added these Legos. I would have Legos, a bin of Legos there for students to play with. And then right here in this blue basket would be things like cardboard, scissors, straws, duct tape, things like that, where that students could use to create different materials and inventions. Um, Number six, I wanted to have students be able to easily access all materials that they would need. So I did that over here to the right by creating a station with like bins, storage bins with things like crayons, markers, scrap paper, pencils, all of that stuff would be over here. But also underneath that, I created a shelf that could have multiple levels of storage, so that underneath that I would have STEM bins. So in the morning, students during morning time, they could get those STEM bins out, things like fidgets and building tools, building blocks, just those little STEM activities that they could use to play with. And number 7, I wanted to create space for students to have a time of independent study and reflection. So I did this by giving each student their own individual desk rather than tables. Having their own individual desks just allows them to feel like a little bit more of an independent space. And they could sit there and reflect during that. But students, if they didn't want to sit at their desk, they could also take a flexible seating choice and go to different corners around the room or different spaces around the room where there are space, because there's different types. There's room for that in the classroom. And number 8, I wanted a huge rug in my classroom, so I put this big rug up towards the front of the classroom by my desk and the students' desks. I put it in front of the smartboard and the whiteboards, and the big rug would be an area that all students could go to as a whole class. We could do meetings there, we could do mini lessons, whole group lessons, things like that, but also it is a good place for students just to like have a brain break. I could play a video up on the smartboard and they could all be on the rug and doing something like that together. But it's also another space where students can go to work or collaborate if they wanted to. And number 9, I added tables where students could be collaborative together, work together, communicate together, all those skills of the 21st century. And so I have 3 different types of tables. I have the square table right here, and this table would be a taller version of a table so that students could stand or sit. So I added stools there that would be like a higher height of a stool, so that if they wanted to sit, they could still reach the top of the table, but they could also stand if they wanted to at that table. And then I have the makerspace table where students could go to if they wanted to sit together, collaborate together there. And then I also have the kidney-shaped table, and I put this one by my desk because I also might want to do guided instruction there, and it would just be a space where I could pull kids who maybe needed a little bit more supervision over there, but they wanted a different atmosphere. They could come to the kidney table and they would be right there. So there's that. And number 10, I created a classroom that would allow me to do centers with my students. So I would put my students in groups and they would each rotate around the room within a given time. They would participate in the different activities at each center. So I would have, like, for example, like the guided instruction at the kidney table. Students could come. That would be one center. Another center could be at the rug. Students could be writing. They could sit down on the rug if they wanted to write. And then another center could be at the square table, the standing table, where they are doing more of a hands-on activity if they wanted to. And then I could also have another center at the reading nook, where this would be the time of reading. They could silent read or watch or read aloud on their computer there. And that is my 21st century classroom.